Well, welcome back, my friends, to another rousing rendition of Choir Boys Outdoors, an Extrema ratio rendition. This is the MF2 Desert Warfare model from Extrema Ratio, made in Italy. Now, this video is obviously a lot longer than our normal ones, and that's because we put a lot of time into this thing. The deal is this. My guy Masson over at Extrema gifted me this knife. Now, there was a whole deal went on between he and I. Nothing bad, just a little back and forth about a couple of knives. And he was good enough to send me this one, and I absolutely adore this thing, and I absolutely dropped that paper there. Now, a couple things you need to know up front. Masson reprofiled it. I honed it when it got here, so this is not the original edge. I am the second owner, okay? But we did hone it up, strop it up, and get it ready. You need to know that. That's important. While the edge profile changed a little bit, the heat treat did not. So the things that we're going to put it through are a pretty good representation of the knife. Now, you can see little lines right there. I did run it through my work sharp on my polishing belt just to make sure we didn't have any burrs, anything like that. So one thing I despise about that damn work sharp, it'll put that on there. But we didn't do much on that at all. And we didn't use any belt that would remove metal. That's important. Guys, before we get into this, the MF2 or Denza Colonel Motion, and I might be saying that wrong, is the version of this knife that is issued to the 9th Parachute Assault Regiment. Colonel Motion. And if I'm mispronouncing that, I mean no disrespect. It is the Italian 9th Parachute Assault Regiment. So already, you guys know this knife means a lot. Before we get into the video, and here we're just doing some quick slashing and stabbing, because this is a tactical knife. This is actually carried by military forces in Italy. This is a purpose-built knife. Before we get into this, guys, there was a time in this country where 22 veterans a day took their own lives, and the stats are everywhere. You know that, depending on what day. The stat we focus on here at the channel is 0. Anything over 0 is simply unacceptable. Vets, we love you. You have a place here. That's all it means. You're welcome here. We back to blue over here. We sport Leo, all to the chagrin of many. Most misunderstood thing we do, but that's okay. How do you do that, Scab? Well, we don't break the damn law anymore. And if we do, because we accept responsibility. And finally, if you are an addict, never quit quitting. So here's the deal, guys. There is a lot to this knife. There's a lot that I want to get into, so I'm glad it is a longer knife. This is actually a review and not just a demonstration, although we do both things. That is a lock. That is a secondary lock. This is a liner lock with a secondary lock on it. I put a lot of emphasis on that secondary lock during this video. I tried to do a lot more stabbing. We open with that with a glove. Later in the video, we're going to stab without the glove, and I'm going to give you some thoughts on that. The big thing on this knife is that subhilt. When I first got the knife, and I want to explain something. I was gifted this, probably had it for a month and a half or 2 months now. Here's the thing. I have carried this knife at least 5 days a week for those 2 months. I never do that before I do a demonstration. Usually I bring it in, I take it out of the box, and we shoot a video, see how I can get used to it, see if I can adapt. I did not want to do that with this knife, okay? I wanted to give a full, concise, and clear review and my thoughts on it. And the other thing is, my perspective would have been jaded had if I'd have just walked in and took it out of the box. Because I'm going to tell you, when I first saw that subhilt, I thought, nah, this ain't for me, okay? Now, let me say this about the subhilt. I've gotten more and more and more used to it. The thing is this, there's never a time where you don't know it's not there. So, is it a factor? Yes, it is for me. I can't sit here and tell you, oh, this handle is supremely comfortable. It's not uncomfortable, but you do have to adjust a little bit. Having said that, let me say this. This is one of the best and most well-built knives I've ever seen. The damn thing is a tank. The tolerances are spot on, and before anybody says anything, any knife on this planet can break. I could go in and break every damn knife I got. That's not what this review is about. We put it through some hard use, some hard testing. We don't go to the point of extreme, but I put enough pressure on it to know that this knife will hold up for me in my daily use. And what I try to do, guys, is give you a complete and concise look if it would hold up for you, okay? Again, every knife review has its merit. Every knife review matters. Knife reviews, lives matter, I guess you could say. But the truth is, there are different strokes for different folks. That subhilt for a lot of people is a deal breaker. However, having said all of that, let me say this. I have come to greatly admire and respect that subhilt. Give you a quick story and y'all can just watch the knife work. And again, remember, this isn't a straight out of the box edge. It has held up insanely well, and I can report to you there were no chips, no dings, no rolls, no anything. So, in my opinion, the heat treat on this is pretty spot on, okay? Even though it's been reprofiled, honed, all that, I saw no flaws in the edge. And I didn't go over it with a fine-tooth comb. I did this. This is steel belted hose. This is steel belted sandblast hose. The pieces of tire that you saw me stabbing at the beginning, they're all steel belted. So there's a lot of steel that got cut through and stabbed through. And if there was a faulty heat treat, I believe, in my opinion, and that's all I can go by, we would have seen some chipping or some rolling. Now, I originally did this, and I'm going to try to give you a better view of it, an upside down view. I originally did this without gloves on. And then I got to thinking, this goes to the 9th Parachute Regiment, right? More than likely, they're going to be wearing gloves. Now, I'll say this, stabbing without gloves and stabbing with gloves, two different animals, okay? The comfort level, now, this wasn't uncomfortable. And the one thing that I try to bear in mind, the one thing that I tried to tell myself, like there wasn't like, I'm like, oh my God, this hurts, I can't do it. No. I work with my hands every day, so my hands are a little bit more tough, but it wasn't a pleasant feeling. But then you have to ask yourself, well, how many people are you going to stab? See, that has to be something, it's not something, that's not an everyday event. And if it is, you're probably going to be in prison. See what I'm saying? You see the grip that I employed there? And we just ran it into the tree. So while you know it's there, it's not like, oh my God, I can't hold it. It's not that way at all. Throw some gloves on, it's pretty damn comfortable, I'm not going to lie. The other side with the gloves that I really wanted you to pay attention to was simply this. I could still open it and close it one-handed. In a lot of my videos, folders, you're going to see me open, close, one-handed. Now, assisted opening, we can't, but these manual flippers, and this is a flipper, and that flipper then turns into a guard. So you have a subhilt for a guard, and you have that flipper. So you've got two guards on this thing. The other thing I wanted to do, and I'm going to come up to a point here in a minute where we take just a couple of minutes and I go over some grips. I never do that. I wanted to do that with this knife, and we'll discuss a couple things there. The thing is this, guys. This knife is purpose built. It's purpose driven. It's well made. Now, we're going to do about 2 minutes right here. All right, so this jimping here, pay attention to that. It looks aggressive. It's not. It's very comfortable. The jimping there, I think that's very well thought out. Now, this is a deep carry pocket clip. The one thing that concerned me, see that spike right there? See that glass breaker on the bottom? Yeah, if you put your thumb right there, that shit's going to hurt. However, and you can see the balance point of this knife, the pocket clip leaves ample room for you to slide your hand beside it. And that's a matter of carrying it every day, getting used to it every day. By this point in time, after 2 months, I can tell you, my hand immediately goes away from it. It's very comfortable. That grip there, and we're going to discuss grips, but I wanted to talk to y'all about that. See the bottom of that knife? Now there's the jimping. I'm demonstrating where to put your thumb, where not to. See that part right below where I'm pointing? Right where my finger's resting right there? Not that part, the other part. You can hold 2 fingers there. So the inner grip on this knife is really kind of a moot point, although it is important on many. On this one, the design lends to a good bit of comfort if I drop my fingers down. There's the lock we talked about. The other thing that I wanted to show y'all was that pivot screw. It's an actual flathead screwdriver, and when you adjust it with a flathead, it's more of a ratchet type thing. So you can adjust the tension on the knife. Right there by the lock. Now it's on the other side. Okay, we're going to engage the lock. And I can tell you guys, that son of a bitch here ain't moving. Everything I did, stab test wise, Donnie B all day, drop test wise, Donnie B all day, throw it at the stump wise, the secondary lock was engaged. What I was going to say though is that pivot screw is a flathead screwdriver. You can actually set it to whatever tension you want. And I got it where this thing will fly open in a hurry, but there's no wobble, very secure. What I did for this review is, like I said, I carried it a lot. I can't carry anything really at work, okay? For the simple fact, and I carry some knives, but they stay up front. So this stayed up front. I can't carry this in a sandblast pit. It'll get ate up. I don't give a shit who makes it. The Norse gods guy, whatever his name is, could make it, and sandblasting's going to eat it up. So what I did was left it up front. But what I wanted to say is this. I have carried this just about every day, 5 days a week, for the past 2 months. The other side of it is, with that subhilt, I've heard some complaints, and there have been some complaints. Hey man, that thing snags every time I pull it out of my pants. With jeans, I could see it. With the kind of pants, I always wear BDUs or cargo pants. Remember, I'm not military. My wife is a vet. My son is a vet. I am not. I do wear a lot of BDUs. I do wear a lot of cargo shorts. They're very, very comfortable. The thing is this. When you have ample room in your pocket, it didn't snag a whole lot. Now, 1 or 2 times, yeah. But I tried to carry it so much, and guys, listen to me. Sometimes camera angles are deceiving. Yes, I cut myself this week. No, not with this knife, and no, I'm not really close to anything with my hand. I like doing this test here. People always, oh, it's just air hose. It's 2-ply air hose that we cut at work with a Sawzall, okay? What I like doing with that test is stabbing, and it puts so much pressure on that tip. If there was any faults in it, that tip would have snapped. I promise you that. Because that whole hose there is probably 3/16 to a 1/4 inch thick. You can see how smooth it opens and closes. One-handed, no problem. There's no lockup. There's nothing like that. And we're going to do some batoning here in a few minutes. Now, here's the deal. Big shout out to Extrema/Masson. Dude, thank you. I absolutely adore this knife. Shout out to Donnie B all day, my brother from another mother. I might actually let Donnie review this. He thought it was dope and badass, and I'd like to get a guy from the military's perspective. And shout out to Charles Jones, the Redneck Nerd. Awesome guy, awesome channel. Charles, I got some things coming your way pretty soon. Joe Love, Steel Forged and Fire, Sword and Knife. That's who he used to be. Now he's JS Bladecraft. Love Joe. Grugsy, Legion Tactical. And then Running with Knives. What's the Point EDC. Big J's Knives. A bunch of great channels. I'm going to put together a little shout out video this weekend because I don't want to leave anybody out, and I know I have. But those guys are shout outs. Guys, check out my community page if you would. Now, back to this knife. We got a couple minutes left. Guys, I tried to put this thing through as much as I could possibly put it through. You'll see me stop. One hand open and close. One handed open and close. There's usually not a video that I'm going to do where I do not cut this ratchet strap. To me, it's just an important demonstration test, whatever you want to call it. I think I counted 7 hours today of putting work into this knife. So believe me when I tell you that N60 got it, that N690 got a workout. Now, we did some batoning. This is a combat utility knife. Yes, it's purpose built. Yes, it's tactically built. But to me, it has to be able to hold up to everything. Would you normally baton with a folder? No. In extreme situation, you'd have to. Now, you'll notice, guys, in my videos, if we do baton, and again, I don't necessarily advise it, okay? But for a demonstration, I think it's a great thing to do. We do not engage the lock, all right? We don't want to put any extra stress there. Plus, with a 4.4-inch blade, I'm going to tell you right now, it's ample room to baton. Hey, quick thing, guys, and I'm going to close it up. When I bounced one night, all hell broke loose. All hell absolutely broke loose, and it was me and the cooler, Callie, in the middle of 8 or 9 guys. Now, help was coming, but we were surrounded. I kept feeling a punch to my leg. Couldn't figure out what the hell it was. Punch to the outside and then a couple punches to the inside. Once everything got cleared up and cleaned up, we found a pocket knife on the floor that was bloody from the guy, sweaty, and slipped. Guys, listen to me. When I tell y'all I have respect for that subhilt, it struck a chord with me today while I was using it. If that dude would have had a subhilt on that knife, old Scabbard probably would have been done for because he hit me in some bad spots. So, as much as I want to say, oh, I hate the subhilt, I don't hate it. It's not supremely uncomfortable. I understand the purpose. I've gotten used to it. And I got to tell you, this is a hell of a knife. Mason, thank you, my brother. Much appreciated. Guys, I have a Patreon in the description or the join button down below. Please join us over in the choir. There's a lot of extra stuff over there that you may enjoy. But other than that, hey, listen, I'm Scab. You're not. Hell of a knife. I'm gone, son.